Dear delegates, dear rowing friends, this is Jean-Christophe Roland, President of FISA. I am very pleased to introduce this video presentation that I will share with Matt Smith, FISA Executive Director. As part of the preparation of the External Congress to be held by video conference on the 17th and 18th October, we aim at sharing with you, the delegates of FISA member federations, the main proposals for changes in the statutes and rules of racing and the rationale behind these changes. Due to the specific situation with the COVID-19 pandemic, this will be made through 4 video presentations, 2 of which dedicated to the statutes and 2 to the rules of racing. The full documentation package, including the agenda papers and the explanatory notes, have been already distributed with the circular and are also accessible on the website. Should you have any question, do not hesitate to liaise with us using the email address 2020congresses@fisa.org. I remind you also that we will have member federation consultation meetings to answer your questions. For the statutes, 2 sessions, this is to take into account the time zones, 2 sessions are scheduled on Friday, 4th September. As for the rules of racing, 2 different sessions will also be organized on Friday, 25th September. For that, you will need to register and the link can be found on the Congress webpage. For now, this is part 1 of 2 related to the statutes. I will pass to Matt Smith, who will present the first set of the main key changes.
Thank you, Jean-Christophe, and hello, everyone. This video will follow the summary of major proposed changes in the statutes on one of the documents found on the website in the Congress section. This document you see on the screen, and we will follow these as the main changes on this video. The first is to point out to you that Article 1 will stay in its present place, but the Declaration of Principles will be moved to be part of the statutes in Article 2, and we'll cover that in a moment. In Article 1, we propose that World Rowing becomes the name and brand to be used for all operational and communication matters. And you'll see the wording on the left in red that FISA will operate as World Rowing. This is explained in an explanatory document also found on the website with the name Proposed Change to Article 1, Federation Name and Brand Change from FISA to World Rowing. There you will find the history and the background, the opportunity of why we are proposing this now, and to point out to you the objective of this exercise to change is to unify all operations, communications, management, and governance behind one strong, future-proof brand, World Rowing. We believe that this will best equip our organization to welcome the new disciplines, namely coastal and indoor, and attract a wider and more diverse community to our sport. This brand was changed in 2011, side by side with FISA, and we feel that now is the time to communicate with one strong brand. Next is this point of moving the Declaration of Principles from the very beginning of the rulebook to become Article 2, Principles of Rowing. And we want to emphasize the importance of these principles and place emphasis on the importance of promoting diversity and gender equality, which you will find in some of the changes that are proposed in the Principles of Rowing. Next, we move to the membership section, which are the new Articles 10 to 14. We've reorganized them a bit to provide more clarity and emphasis on integrity matters, including safeguarding and safety for the rowers. So please read through the proposed changes to Article 10 and 14, reordering and use of some different vocabulary. Next, we move to Article 22, which is the eligibility of Congress delegates. And we, as in 2017, we propose to move to a more gender balanced Congress to promote diversity and gender equality. As you know, measurements of good governance very strongly emphasize gender equity to include both genders in the decision-making positions across the member federations and in world rowing. So we propose this as an important change to the eligibility of Congress delegates. Next is just a clarification between an extraordinary Congress, which is called for an extraordinary reason, and our four-yearly, what we propose to call quadrennial Congress, which is the Congress we are preparing now to change statutes and rules of racing. So it's not a change of substance, it's just a change between what is an extraordinary Congress, which is to address a question that is extraordinary, and move to this quadrennial Congress every 4 years in the year following in the year of the Olympic Games. Next, we move down to Article 33, and we'll report in a moment on our consultation with PricewaterhouseCoopers and Swiss law firm. But one of the changes is that we propose that the selection of the auditor of the EFISA accounts is a Congress decision based on a recommendation by the Executive Committee. So this is one of the measures of good governance in recent guidelines published by different organizations, and we have adopted this and included it as a proposed change to our statutes. Now we move to Article 38, and Jean-Christophe.
Thank you, Matt. So moving now to the articles related to the Council and the Executive Committee. So our intention here is to provide actually a clarification on the roles and responsibility of the Council and those of the Executive Committee. This was initially suggested by our PricewaterhouseCoopers auditors, notably, but not only, but notably on the finance matters. The current articles needed to be updated to better reflect Swiss banking and accounting law. To complete this exercise, we consulted a leading Lausanne-based law firm, which with a specific expertise on Swiss association law and significant experience with international federations. As you will see in details, the Council is actually mainly responsible for all sport matters, whereas the Executive Committee has oversight responsibility for the management, administration, finances, and governance. So new Article 38, the Council, Article 48, the Executive Committee, and Article 45, duties of the Council, Article 51, duties of the Executive Committee. All these articles reflect now more clearly these elements. Likewise, on the recommendation of the Swiss lawyers and in line with good governance principles, the Council proposes the creation of an internal audit committee and an adaptation of the Finance Subcommittee to become the Finance Committee. You will see the descriptions and the details of the Internal Audit Committee in Appendix S6 as a bylaw to Article 45, and of the Finance Committee in new Appendix S8 as a bylaw to Article 51. Let's move now to Article 39 and 54 related to the Athletes Commission. A reflection was initiated by the Athletes Commission to review and possibly amend their membership in order to reflect good practices from other organizations and eventually a better representation of the athletes community. The agreed principles consist in the following: having both appointed and elected members in the Commission, the latter being elected by their peers at the World Championships, and the chair of the Athletes Commission being designated by the members of the Commission. The exercise to move from these principles to the actual process and regulation was quite complex. The result is that the Athletes Commission will be composed with 10 members with full gender equality, 5 still appointed by the Council, like for the other commissions, and 5 being elected at the World Championships. The Athletes Commission chair will be elected by the Athletes Commission members and proposed to the Council for appointment. And last but certainly not least, the Athletes Commission chair will be an ex officio member of the FISA Executive Committee with full voting rights. Back to you, Matt.
Thank you, JC. The next is we have on Article 42, new Article 42, we have consolidated all eligibility elements in one article. And you'll find that when you look at the text of Article 42. And it includes the relevant skills and experience expressed for the eligibility of the council members. Moving next to Article 46, and in line with the explanation Jean-Christophe provided, the Swiss lawyers proposed reworking the individual job descriptions of the president, the treasurer, and the executive director to assign responsibility and accountability for day-to-day financial activities to the professional staff and away from the volunteer treasurer a bit. So please read carefully the wording proposed now in our Appendix S7, which is the bylaw to Article 46. And like we said, we have reviewed all of these with the Swiss lawyers to best reflect current practice. Next is the new Article 49, former Article 50. The Council proposes that the 3 positions on the Executive Committee are not limited to chairs of commissions, but are expanded to include continental representatives and co-opted members. Now, these will all be individually elected by the Congress. So there is a review of each of the candidates. It's just to expand the pool of candidates that can fill the 3 council member positions on the Executive Committee. That concludes the first part of this summary, and we thank you very much for your attention.